Welcome to Insightful. You're listening to an engaging, easy to understand, bite-sized series of lessons on trending topics. The upcoming few minutes will keep you in the loop, help you grow at work or in your personal life, as well as provide some engaging conversation starters. Let's dig in and invest our time to get forward. Crisis 2020. Don't let the fear interfere. Creativity levels can rise when in crisis mode. Spinoza once said that all human actions stem from an instinct to safeguard our existence before anything else. At this very moment, fear of losing lives and livelihoods resonates throughout the world battling with coronavirus. Could this crisis be a chance to unlock our ego defense mechanisms and accelerate our progress? It may almost sound wrong, but working with our basic motivations can result in increased productivity and creativity. What's the core of our worries? We're terrified of pain. Interestingly, translated into ancient Greek, the word refers to both pain and effort, which highlights that the hard times push humanity towards its greatest achievements and impressive innovations. Right now, we are facing a new threat, an unknown virus that has resulted in drastic changes in our daily routines. Our personal lives, the way we work, our psychological resilience, and financial situation all had to adjust fast in an unprecedented manner. When we talk and read about the present lockdown, we refer to it as unpleasant and limiting. While that is undoubtedly true, there are multiple positive side effects, including a huge creativity boost. Physical isolation urges us to connect with each other and share thoughts, feelings, and ideas. More than ever, we feel the need to transform the unknown into familiar, or even create a new unknown. As Franklin D. Roosevelt put it, happiness is not in the mere possession of money. It lies in the joy of achievement, in the thrill of creative effort. Clearly, it is not by chance that some of the world's biggest companies have flourished during tough times. Responding to the crisis with creativity poses an enormous opportunity for individuals, entrepreneurs, and governments. Those who act fast to acquire novel skills, knowledge, and techniques will be uniquely equipped to thrive within the new circumstances. When an old system crumbles down, it's time to start building new paths, the unknown. As the great poet Robert Frost wrote, "Take the road less traveled, and thus make a difference." All in all, everything depends on the way each of us perceives things. The possibilities are endless, no matter the situation. Just remember, each coin is reversible. Choose the right side to get forward. World-famous brands born during a crisis. Part 1. History suggests that big thinkers thrive during big recessions. After all, it is natural for human genes to revive when hard times hit. Despite the economy crumbling down right now, some of tomorrow's largest brands and companies are likely building their foundations at this very moment. Sounds improbable? Let's look back on the origin stories of world-renowned brands. General Electric. Thomas Edison wasn't thrilled about launching his company during the crisis. Fast forward to over 100 years later, having surpassed the economic difficulties, GE is still one of the leading, original, most profitable companies around the world. With operations in fields spanning from healthcare to power, finance, and much more. GE also employs 2 Nobel Prize winners. Disney. Great Depression, stock markets plummeting, people panicking, companies closing down. Among all that chaos, Disney introduced a cute character named Mickey Mouse and defined its place in history. This moment led to further financial growth and many successful endeavors, and of course, all that accumulated in the empire that Disney is today. Microsoft. In 1975, the US was undergoing stagflation, a deadly combination of high unemployment, inflation, and stagnant GDP. This didn't scare Bill Gates and Paul Allen, founders of Microsoft. Since the 90s, the multi-billion giant has largely diversified from the operating system market and owns brands such as Skype Technologies and LinkedIn. CNN. During the 1980s crisis, the Federal Reserve decided to aggressively raise the interest rate to curb inflation. Nevertheless, a media entrepreneur, Ted Turner, took a leap of faith with a brand new channel, the cable news network. During the 1980s crisis, the Federal Reserve decided to aggressively raise the interest rate to curb inflation. Nevertheless, a media entrepreneur, Ted Turner, took a leap of faith with a brand new channel, the cable news network, which provided 24-hour news coverage for the first time in history. Nowadays, over 90 million television households have subscribed to CNN. Get to know the history behind more pioneer renowned brands in Part 2. World-famous brands born during crisis times, Part 2. In the previous chapter, we've learned that visionary companies can, ironically, build a solid foundation even when the whole world around them crumbles. Let's take a look at more astonishing success stories. Apple. Apple launched personal computers at a time when a major downturn hit the economy. After a successful introduction of Macintosh, things went south until the return of fired Steve Jobs, who fully reconstructed the company that was weeks away from bankruptcy. Today, Apple is a tech giant, with more than 1 billion of their products being actively used around the world. Amazon. Do you know why Seattle became Amazon's headquarters? Interestingly, Jeff Bezos picked this city because it was home to Microsoft, and he suspected he'd be able to acquire a lot of technical knowledge for his new company. Years later, Bezos is the richest man alive, and Amazon is the world's largest marketplace and the largest internet company by revenue. During the 2008 recession, when high street shops were struggling to make ends, Amazon surprised financial experts with a remarkable increase in profits. Despite the coronavirus outbreak, Amazon still thrives and sells a huge range of goods and products worldwide. Airbnb. Back in 2008, roommates Brian Chesky and Joe Gebbia had a brilliant idea to put their air mattress in their living room and offset the high cost of rent in San Francisco. While the coronavirus has shut down traveling, Airbnb isn't concerned. As their CEO announced, the company was born during a global crisis. It didn't stop us then. It won't stop us now. Netflix. Netflix and chill, an increasingly popular activity for all of those who responsibly #stay at home. The streaming giant was born in 1997 when it sold and rented DVDs by mail. The pivot to video on demand proved to be the right move when DVD rental stores started dying. Right at the peak of the recession in 2009, the company gained 3 million subscribers, and during the coronavirus crisis, its numbers kept growing. Netflix even agreed to temporarily reduce the streaming quality in Europe to help out exhausted internet providers. Lego. A universal toy that brings never-ending joy to kids and adults alike. The company has managed to achieve phenomenal results even during 2009, when the whole world struggled. Fun fact, Lego's profits skyrocketed 663% when David Beckham admitted that he built a Lego Taj Mahal while recovering from Achilles tendon injury. He even confessed that if he wasn't a footballer, he would have been a Lego model builder. Each coin is reversible. Choose the right side to get forward. It's impossible to grasp the sheer amount of stories on companies suffering from the coronavirus outbreak. The public is bombarded with data, be it images, videos, or news, and mustering the strength to sit back and reflect on all these is becoming quite a challenge. The whole planet is filled with rather negative energy, with fear being the driving force behind our behavior. Quite difficult to come to terms with the new reality, isn't it? But wait a second. While it is crucial to stay in the loop and follow the expert guidelines, aren't we going too far if we focus solely on the scary numbers and worst-case scenarios? Don't let the fear interfere. Remember, humanity has gone through rough times over and over again. Take time to reflect on the many successful things that were born out of the ashes. It is up to us to decide which side of the coin best works for ourselves. Stay connected with people, but most importantly, be connected with yourself. This is a great chance to enjoy peace and silence and stop for a while. It's time to be close to nature more than you've ever been. Constantly be creative. Remember, productivity cannot be isolated. And who can put creativity into quarantine? Focus on art. There is so much hidden gold in there that is waiting to be discovered. Even if you're scared to believe that it is through the chaos and unknown that the greatest things arise, read the stories of companies that were born through a crisis and get inspired. You can't imagine how much strength is out there, one which shines even more now. As long as we breathe, there's always a chance to flip the coin to the right side. And as Janet Walls says, sometimes we need a crisis to get our adrenaline flowing and make us realize our full potential. Digital solidarity in the coronavirus era. March 2020. The universe is experiencing one of the most severe lockdowns of all time. Empty streets, closed venues, few people on the street, their faces covered with masks. The offline reality is a stark contrast to our normally busy world. Thankfully, we managed to redirect our attention to online reality. Digital connections indeed seem more necessary and helpful than ever before. Going digital makes us feel united, engaged, more powerful, and less afraid. People strive for a social life, even if in self-isolation. If your social media suddenly became full of virtual parties, webinars, online concerts, and Instagram yoga classes, you are not alone. Simply put, virtual solidarity is of vital importance. Jonah Camino, head of community at Nextdoor Spain, thinks that these days it keeps people motivated by giving them a reason to get out of bed in the morning. To encourage the community spirit, many projects have gone ahead with digital solidarity. In Italy, a team of artists and social media users created an Instagram account called My Sweet Quarantine, which offers a daily program packed with performances and classes. In Berlin, the famous nightlife has transferred online with approximately 250 nightclubs joining the United We Stream to live stream DJ sets. Numerous museums and theaters started streaming their content, which means you can take a virtual tour and experience remote live performances. History shows us that human beings are able to adjust to abrupt changes, as this is part of their survival instinct. And since modern reality has transformed from one day to another, it is time to unite and share our energy digitally. You can't imagine how much strength is out there, one which shines even more now. As Kate Walton, head of Stayer Content, points out, it is a fundamentally human instinct to crave for connection. During times when personal contact and communication are restricted, building on a strong digital solidarity concept is probably one of the healthiest solutions we have in our hands.